Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into an incredibly dense, utterly fascinating mythological narrative from the Mahabharata. We're unpacking a high-stakes tale of a cursed bloodline, impending doom, and a massive, multi-generational rescue mission. It's a brilliant look at ancient problem-solving, wrapped up in epic mythology, and we're going to break the whole thing down. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of who did what, we have to start with the ultimate problem. How exactly do you save your entire lineage from a prophesied fiery death? Just imagine knowing there's a literal countdown to complete annihilation for your family. That's the exact terrifying scenario the Nagas, a powerful race of serpents in Hindu mythology, found themselves in. Surviving this? It's going to require a flawless, meticulously planned countermeasure. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the Mother's Fiery Curse. Okay, so let's look at the inciting incident that set this huge epic into motion. According to the ancient accounts, the origin of this terror actually comes from within the family itself. The mother of the snakes literally cursed her own children. The terrifying prophecy states, "He that hath the wind for his charioteer shall burn you all in Janamejaya's sacrifice," meaning Agni, the god of fire, is prophesied to consume every last one of them. It's a definitive, inescapable decree of total destruction by fire. Moving right along to Section 2, a strategic holy alliance. So, staring down the barrel of total extinction, the snake leadership had to act, and their chief knew he needed a bold, game-changing countermove. He actually orchestrated a marriage specifically designed to breed a savior. On one side, you've got the maternal lineage desperately needing salvation, and on the other, you have Jaratkaru. He's a rishi, a powerful, enlightened sage who represents pure ascetic power and incredibly rigid vows. By marrying his sister to this sage through properly ordained scriptural rites, the chief is merging their vulnerability with some serious spiritual strength. It's a totally calculated defensive alliance. Which brings us to Section 3, Astika, the destined savior. And wow, did this calculated, scripturally ordained union pay off. The ultimate solution to the snake's fiery problem was finally born. They named this high-souled son Astika, and he was exactly what the lineage needed. You see, he wasn't a warrior wielding a sword. He was an illustrious ascetic. He was deeply versed in the Vedas, the most ancient, sacred Hindu scriptures and all their branches. But maybe most importantly, he possessed this profound equanimity, regarding everyone with a calm, even eye. The text specifically points out that simply through his nature, he immediately removed the deep-seated fears of both his parents. He was literally the living, breathing antidote to his grandmother's curse. Okay, Section 4, surviving the snake sacrifice. Let's fast forward a bit to the climax, because after a long span of time, that mother's fiery curse finally materialized in the real world. The prophecy hinged on a specific event, and that event arrived when King Janamejaya, a ruler descending from the legendary royal Pandava line, took power. He started a massive ritual known as the snake sacrifice. And listen, this wasn't just some symbolic gesture. The source text makes it perfectly clear this sacrifice commenced explicitly for the actual physical destruction of the snakes. The fire was lit, and doom was quite literally at their doorstep. So here is where it all comes together. Just as the flames were threatening to consume his brothers, his maternal uncles, and the rest of the snake lineage, Astika stepped directly into the chaos. Tapping into his profound spiritual knowledge and all that pure aesthetic power he'd cultivated his whole life, he successfully delivered the Nagas from a fiery death. That strategic alliance forged generations ago, it finally paid off, neutralizing the curse at the absolute last possible second. And finally, Section 5, debts paid, heaven gained. Now, you might think the story ends just because the fire is out, right? Actually, no. Astika's mission was also about fulfilling these ancient spiritual mechanics and paying off massive cosmic debts. In this context, asceticism functions as a sort of cosmic currency used to clear generational burdens. The source text gives us a very specific formula for spiritual liberation here. Astika didn't just walk away after saving his family. He methodically completed a rigorous set of steps. First, through austerities, vows, and studying the Vedas, he freed himself from personal debts. Second, he satisfied the gods through sacrificial offerings. Third, he conciliated the rishis by practicing brahmacharya, a super strict life of discipline and celibacy. And finally, he gratified his ancestors by having offspring of his own. By executing this exact playbook, he delivered his fathers and secured absolute spiritual freedom. So when we map this epic arc out chronologically, it is just incredible to see how a devastating ancient curse, step 1, was systematically dismantled. It moves from that strategic holy alliance to the birth of the designated savior, right up to the harrowing climax of Janamajaya's sacrifice, and finally wraps up with the systematic discharge of spiritual debt. It's just a perfect loop of cause, strategic effect, and ultimate resolution. And the ripple effects of Astika's success were absolutely profound. Because of his careful interventions and strict adherence to his spiritual duties, his father, Jaratkaru of rigid vows, was completely relieved from his ancestral bondage. Having discharged his heavy debts and acquired a ton of religious merit over the years, Jaratkaru finally ascended to heaven, leaving Astika behind as a highly accomplished, legendary figure. So as we wrap up this explainer on the Astika Parva, I really want to leave you with this thought. When you look at how meticulously the Snake Chief planned for a threat that was literally generations away, it begs the question, are our destinies shaped entirely by the unstoppable curses of our past, or by the strategic, methodical actions we take to overcome them today? Does destiny write our end, or do we? It's a pretty powerful framework for looking at how we face our own seemingly insurmountable challenges.